Hello, and welcome to Heart of the Matter. And it's a great honor to have Amed join me again from Planetary Intelligence. And just before we get started and stuff, there's a couple of podcasts that I've been watching that Amed has done, which is I've got some information here, which is by Sol Luckman, and he's got a channel called Crow Rising, and the other one was Joel Schafer as well. And yeah, if you've got the time, I would say please go and check those podcasts out. And what I'll do is I'll put links underneath for the viewers to check out. And yeah, so thank you, Amed, for joining me, brother. And looking forward to tonight's conversation. Thank you, brother.
Yeah, always a joy, Kelvin, to be in your company and to share. And yeah, I love Joel and Soul as well, who I've really connected with. Great to connect with such beautiful minds, such beautiful souls who are on the same path, well, or at least a similar path to to what I'm doing, and it's it's really refreshing. Sometimes you think you're on your own, or there's very few, or there's very rare amount of people, but I'm starting to meet more and more people that are like that, and that's refreshing. And um it gives you the feeling that you're not alone, doing it. So yeah, very grateful for the connections, and likewise very grateful for our connection. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, going that for me, watching those couple of podcasts, they were great insights for me, and for me on my journey. And yeah, I just hope that the viewers will get something out of those conversations that you had. So thank you, Ahmed, for the beautiful wisdom that you're putting out there. Thank you.
The joy, I'm grateful. And yeah, I mean, wisdom is there's things that I still need to work on as well, and the work is always ongoing, the shadow work, all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm very grateful to where I am so far on my journey,
Mm, mm.
and I look forward to the more and more things to learn, and to eat more humble pie, so to speak. When the time comes, and because I'm all for growth, I'm all for honesty, I'm all for truth. So that's what it's all about.
Yeah, yeah. And again, it's about as we was having a sort of conversation earlier about sort of this, the ego sort of being dissolved, and which is a really good, interesting topic actually that we're going to be discussing here tonight for our viewers, which is about sort of the path of less resistance, because at the end of the day, it's very easy to get caught up in the worldly um of the world, when
Mm.
I know that we need to get past that. And we get so caught up in the five senses, and there's just so much more if we choose to get in touch with the divine and that realm. So yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I mean that realm is always there. It can always be accessed.
Mm,
You don't need power plants or anything to access it. It just takes a it just takes it just takes you to silence that ego and the chatter. Not to say the ego is an enemy, but the ego does need to take a back seat. It needs to sit in the back, so to speak.
yeah.
And only be there to serve, because it is there to serve as an outlet for the soul, not the other way around. Sometimes we think we are our egos, and then we get trapped in identity and personas, and yeah, it's very easy to lose oneself in that world of egotism. um, but one can never get rid of the ego, so one has to learn to live with it, not as a part that's separate from you, because that's more division and separation within you. You want to become whole. So the ego also wants to be healthy and whole with you. So um, it's just learning more about who you want to become. Who are you? Who do you want to be? And uh, where is it you want to go with it? Where is it you want to take this soul, uh, that you are developing through these incarnations. Um, If you don't believe in that, then well, what do you want to do with this incarnation? What do you want to develop with this soul that you have right now? And where do you want to? How do you want to die? How do you want to leave the world in your death? But I will always go back to reincarnation, because reincarnation kind of gives you that responsibility to leave the world in a better place you found it. Because there is a sort of problem with like monotheistic religions where they just say, well, when you die, you go to heaven or hell. And it's like an escape from the earth and your responsibilities from the earth. It's like you don't really care too much about the earth and the world that you live in the sense of, well, when I'm dead, I'm gone anyway, so it doesn't matter. I don't have to come back here. But if you're coming back here, you're gonna make damn sure you're gonna leave it in a better place than you found it. So, we all have our parts to play, big or small. It doesn't really matter, because we all, once we surrender to that divine will or the divine spark that we are, and just flow with it, then you are already living your life's purpose and your life's meaning, and all the experiences that you're having are part of that. So, in talking about the path of less resistance, certainly we can live that way. And the best way to do that is to get out of our own way sometimes, because of our, there's so many people that want to control outcomes and that want to know what's going on and wants to have a complete sort of schedule for everything and these advance notice for everything. And I get that, people have commitments and responsibilities, but if you do that all the time, you leave no room for surprises. You don't leave any room for wonder and magic. And there is something about living in the now, without having to have any expectation or any sort of too much planning involved. Of course, we need to plan for certain things in life, and that's all part of it. But do leave room, please do leave room for the magic and the spontaneity and the surprise. Because if you're always attached to the end result, it's going to backfire against you. So like, have faith you'll get that end result, but how you would get there, well, leave that to the divine, leave that to the oversoul or source, whatever you want to call it. Leave that to the magic to work itself. So that way your resistance doesn't occur. I mean, that's part of it, I think, for me. I'm my own resistance, so to speak. Of course, there are people out there, relationships that may hold you back, that may give you that resistance, but ultimately they're not in charge of you or your life. So it's how much responsibility you take for it, and how firm you are in your boundaries, in doing so. So, let go, and let live, or as the saying goes, let go and let God, so to speak. So, and that's part of what we were talking about before, Kelvin, about the Tao Te Ching, which is a wonderful little handy book.
Yeah.
Showing off our own little Tao Te Chings.
Yeah.
And that is what we're talking about. Like, here, I'll just open up a random page. And I think that's what I like. When I open up a random page, it's just showing me what I need to know. So this is why I opened into.
Okay.
And I'll read just from first page. Those who know don't talk. Those who talk don't know. Close your mouth, block off your senses, blunt your sharpness, untie your knots, soften your glare, settle your dust. This is the primal identity. Be like the Tao. It can't be approached or withdrawn from, benefited or harmed, honored or brought into disgrace. It gives itself up continually. That is why it endures. So, yeah, I mean, there's so much to just draw from that,
Yeah.
isn't there?
So much to reflect on and to sit with, isn't there? Yeah.
Yeah, those who know don't talk. Yeah, that's true. In the right context.
Mm.
um, and those who talk don't know. Yeah, there is a paradox in that too.
Mm.
Uh, and yeah, about closing your senses, closing your mouth, like being silent. Again, it's going about being silent and blunting your sharpness. You don't always have to be on edge and always, be so attentive. Untie your knots, soften your glare, and settle your dust, and saying that this is the primal identity. So yeah, the primal identity is when you silence all that chatter and all the drama that we entertain in our own minds.
Mm.
So that silence, the more we are able to be silent with our inner dialogue, the more we're able to tap into that primal identity that the Tao talks about, or even what Carlos Castaneda, Don Juan talks about. It's the same thing, ultimately.
Yeah.
So, do go into that silence. And, it's something that it depends on you as an individual. I've gotten to a point in my life, Kelvin, where I'm able to observe the thoughts that come in, the chatter. And I'm able to, like, when it comes in within within a minute or two, I'm able to be like, oh, I was lost in a dialogue there. Oh, no, go into feeling, go into body, get into presence, feel,
Mm.
don't think, to silence that talk, get into that feeling and
Mm.
hum and sing and move, enjoy the moment, whether you're washing the dishes or whatever you're doing, you know.
Yeah.
It's different, obviously, when you're creating something. So that's part of it, But the idea is that eventually that 2 minutes turns into 1 minute and you catch it out in 1 minute. Then it turns into 30 seconds. And eventually you don't have to do it at all. Because that becomes your natural state anyway, which is what it is. It's your natural state, you know.
Mm.
So you're able to get on with life without all the drama and all the fears and the anxieties that we pull up. Obviously, we will always get some challenges in our lives, and it's not as if you can stop thoughts altogether because we need thinking faculty. But remember that when you're flowing, you're not thinking. While I'm talking right now, I'm not really thinking about what I'm talking about. I'm just letting it out because I'm talking about what I already feel. I'm talking about what I'm feeling rather than what I need to think about and what I studied and what I was educated with, you know. So so do let it flow and let it be you, go into the being rather than the doing. The doing has its place. There's something beautiful about the doing that allows you to do the being. The paradox, you know.
Or dualistic. Yeah, that dual
Yeah,
again, isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, become
Mm.
the jewel, like I was saying
Yeah, yeah.
to Soul, like become the jewel,
I
be
liked
the
that.
jewel.
Yeah, yeah. Be the jewel.
Um,
Yeah. Mm.
be the jewel. Like, yes, the duality's there, recognize the dualities, but also bring them together as one so
Mm.
that you're no longer uh torn between the two and you're always going from one extreme to the next, swinging in that pendulum from one cause to one effect, from effect to cause. It's like be the center point so you can be both the cause and the effect,
Mm.
And
Mm.
I think that's what the Tao talks about, saying that it can't be approached or withdrawn from. That's the way. You can't be approached. It can't be withdrawn from because it's there. It's just it is.
Mm. Mm.
And that's what you have to be. Just you have to be be.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
simple. It really is. Just simplify it.
Yeah. It's very, very easy, isn't it,
So
to,
get rid of that tension.
yeah, yeah. It's very, very easy to get caught up in a dialogue. I've done it myself. Like you're saying, but how you become the observer rather than sort of judging it, because as soon as you start judging the thoughts, that's when it starts then taking you away. So yeah, again, it is about being self-aware of what's going on and how you can choose
Yeah.
to engage with it or not to engage with it. Really, it takes time. It takes time, but I'm slowly getting there. Slowly getting there. Yeah. Mm,
Yeah, we're all getting there. I mean,
mm,
everyone, it's not a race. Take your time.
mm,
It's not a
mm,
race. It's all part of the journey of growth and coming into more of your consciousness, becoming more conscious in this realm and in your dreams as well. That's a beautiful world to enter into. And when you become more conscious of your dreams, you're bringing that awareness to your energy body, because this mortal body has a finite amount of energy. But when you tap into your energy body in the spiritual realm, you're able to bring more of that energy into your mortal body, so that you're not always feeling tired and drained and
mm, mm.
sleepy.
Yeah, 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 yeah. When you sort of feel more charged, yeah, more charged
Yep.
and feeling yeah, very sort of you know um yeah, lethargic, and slowed down, and yeah, and again, that's all to do with the foods that we eat, as we've talked about, that can affect us as well. So
Yeah.
it's all these things really that we have to take into sort of consideration, really,
Yep.
because
Yeah, do.
that's just as important, is the food side of it as well, and what we eat. And I'm not saying, again, I'm not saying I'm on the best. I'm not going to use the word diet because I don't like that word diet, but
Yeah.
um, I'm beginning to learn to choose a little bit better in what I eat.
Yep.
Um, like today I picked up some kale, today, and some coconut. I don't know if coconut milk's any good or not. I'm not quite sure how that works because I'm still learning, with these little things, but just little things like that, and some mushrooms, and some raspberries, and I think some blueberries as well. So again, it's just these little things, just these little subtle
Yep.
changes. It's like I'm learning that, just introducing these things and then hopefully taking other things out as time goes on. So that's,
Mm.
yeah. Again, I just want to start taking
Yep.
care of myself more. My
Yeah.
body. Mm,
Totally. I mean, the thing is, you got to trust your intuition when it comes to food,
mm,
above all things. Listen to your body, because
mm,
we can always get into dogmatic mind frames of what food is. I know about the alkalinity for sure. Like,
mm,
there's benefits to it, but don't be too strict with it either. Allow
mm, mm, mm.
yourself a bit of wiggle room. Do enjoy a broccoli every now and then. Do enjoy, like,
Yeah.
whatever else you need to enjoy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
eat intuitively and
Mm,
eat with presence,
mm,
knowing that, okay, is this gonna enhance my experience, or is it gonna take away? Is it
mm,
going to What is it going to do? Like, trust your intuition, trust your body as well, how it feels about it.
mm.
Because ultimately it's all about energy. And if foods that we're going to eat is going to drain too much energy from us, best we stay away from them, because
Yeah. Yeah.
we don't want to be depleted and
Yeah.
sleepy.
Yeah. Which is for, I mean, as you're saying that, I know which one that is for me, and that's carbs. I know
Yeah,
how, if I eat carbs, it makes me feel very much like that, very sleepy, very, like a lack of energy. So, yeah,
yeah,
it's like, and when I don't touch the carbs, my energy, is way, way more,
yeah,
I have a much better productive day because of it, So, yeah. Yeah. So carbs is a big one for me. I know
yeah. That's a hard one.
how that
That's a
affects
hard one
me.
to give up, the carbs. I mean,
Yeah.
it's such a because everybody loves potato,
Mm.
or like at least like I do anyway. Like
Yeah.
I,
Chips.
I
So,
love myself some
yeah.
chips and
Yeah.
like roasted potatoes. I love them with rosemary and thyme, and
Mm.
with a bit of olive oil and so on. But yeah, same thing with rice. Big fan of rice. I grew up on
Mm.
that, given
Mm.
my Middle Eastern background.
Mm.
But at the same time, it's like, well, it does drain you. It really does drain you. When you eat enough of it, it's like, sleepyhead. But you could also, even on any food, really, if you eat too much of it, if you eat too much, if you give your body actually too much time, too much digestion, because that's one thing I've been learning as well. I've been kind of like eating once a day, but once I do, it's like, oh, I'm eating quite a lot because it's my only meal of the day. Um, because I do the intermittent fasting, and I realize, okay, hold on a minute. Maybe I'm also eating too much in one go. Like maybe that's not even healthy. Doesn't matter what you're eating. If you're eating more than your body wants, then also that can make you sleepy.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. 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 I'm finding that as well more actually, because I used to, you know, eat quite big amounts, but I'm finding more now, especially since, the hernia problem that I'm sort of hoping to, over time that will resolve itself. But one of the things that I've learned, from looking into it is about eating smaller amounts, and that has helped, because it obviously affects all the intestines and how it all breaks it down. So I'm finding that eating actually smaller amounts is a lot better for me. So yeah, again, little things that we pick up on, and by listening to our body and what it can do, so yeah, it's lessons always to be learned. Mm,
totally. I mean,
mm,
there's so much. Food is such a personal thing for most people. It's
mm,
really hard to talk about food. It's the same thing with like sex as well, or something that's very personal to people.
mm,
And it's a very hard one to kind of like uh find the right answer to in terms of like, yeah, what about quantities? Okay, now we established that this is good for you. Well, okay, what about how much to eat? And when do I need to eat? Um, how much do I need to fast? If I do too much fasting, is that good? So there's so many other things around the whole food thing that also our bodies have to adjust to.
mm, mm, mm.
So the rule being don't eat more than a fistful because that's how big your stomach is, size of your fist. So is that enough? I mean, how do you even measure that? Like if I was to eat a grape and the grape is around that big, but when you eat it, most of it is water anyway, so all the fiber maybe condenses down to that much. Do
Mm.
you see what I mean? So
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
it's very difficult to gauge what is enough, but I think the best thing is to listen to your body and
Mm.
develop that relationship with it. To
Yeah.
really develop that relationship
Mm.
and get to a
Mm.
point where your intuition leads you with food.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I think that's the key. Is like, do I want this at this time or not?
Mm. Mm.
Um, and yeah, becoming a conscious eater,
Mm,
basically.
yeah,
You know,
yeah, yeah. Yeah, and again, we're all different, so what may work for one person's not going to work for somebody else, it's finding your own individual ways of how you eat, and
yeah,
what works, because we are all different in that, I
totally,
mean, I
yeah,
couldn't say I wouldn't be able to eat something, say that I couldn't, for me personally, eat something that I couldn't actually enjoy. There'd be nothing worse than to put something into my mouth and I think, oh, I can't get on with this at all, and yet I'm still trying to force it down. It's far better for me to at least eat things I actually enjoy, but hoping there is some sort of benefit to it for me as well. So,
yeah,
yes,
yeah.
again, it's just just little things that I'm learning for myself as well. I mean, for many years, I mean, I'll share and experienced from a very young child. I wouldn't touch even vegetables, I think till I was about 16, 17. Yeah, it was just literally no vegetables in my diet at all. It was just literally just meat and beans and things like that. Yeah. I wouldn't go anywhere near vegetables. But then at 16, 17, that changed. And, and I started introducing more of that into into what I was putting inside of me. So, yeah, it's just, again, just one of my little experiences of my life when I was younger. Yeah.
It's interesting, food. The more I think about it, because it's what are we feeling? Why is it that just the whole idea of it, right? Like, why is it that this body has to reach out somewhere in the world to get something to put it inside it? Just the mere act of doing that.
Yeah.
And also, what is it out of all the things that the earth provides us with in terms of what is edible, right? Why is it we choose certain things over others at certain times? So I've come to a realization that is to do with your consciousness, the development of your soul and your consciousness at the time. I feel that when you're going through a lot of hell and a lot of like trauma and so on, and lack of or being unconscious or ignorant or whatever it is you're going through that period, I feel like your food will reflect that. So where you are with yourself also reflects what kind of foods you're putting into your body.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So I always feel like that's what we're doing with food. Feels like, that's why the elite focus so much on McDonald's and fast food and do you see what I mean? Because there's no taste.
The Archon chicken and all.
The
Yeah.
Archon.
I had to get that one in there, Ahmed. But yeah, I totally get where totally get where you're coming
they're
from.
all they're all hormone pumped and they're all jibby jabbed meats and we take that secondhand because what that animal ate, it's got the nutrients into its muscles ultimately, and then we start eating those muscles that it has along with its ligaments and other things that it has along with it. So yeah, I mean, why is it we choose to eat that? Why, the more unconscious somebody is, the more they eat that junk, right? Because it's reflective of where they are in their life and their consciousness and the way they've gone there. It's incredible because for me, I've gone through that. Some people never leave it. Some people always stay there and go and eat and think it's perfectly fine to eat a McDonald's burger. And they think it's meat as well that they're eating at the top of that,
I dread to think what that actually consists of. Yeah.
It's some sort of quasi pseudo meat, Kelvin. Who knows? It could have been cloned in a lab, it could have been like cloned meat.
Yeah, I mean, I think I told you, because I think I told you, I was going to say, I think I told you that story, didn't I, about the one on the YouTube with the dog that saw a McDonald's burger and it peed on it. And walked away.
Man.
The dog wouldn't even touch it. It just that's what it did. It just peed on it and it ran off. But that goes to prove to you, if the dog's not going to eat it, well then So I remember just cracking up laughing when I saw that. So yeah.
Oh, brilliant! Yeah. Even a dog knows better than most humans.
Yeah. But
yeah. It's a crazy world.
It is a crazy world.
Yeah,
it's a crazy.
So yeah, food.
Yeah.
So yeah, food always has I think is a reflective of where we are in our consciousness. That's why I feel like part of it is our body's not really made to digest that much food anyway, but we latch on to food because it's a comforter. It's a way of feeling more grounded as well, because it's like what Jason Breshears talks about in a way. Like he says that the more you fast and so on, or you go on these certain substances, you know, and theogens, it loosens the grip on the nervous system in the body, so you become less physical, the more in the realm of spirit, right? Become less attached to the body. And there is definitely truth to that in the experiences I've had with fasting, and you know, but at the same time, it's like, yes, do that, but you also have a body. You know,
Yeah.
while you're here, you still have a body, unless
Yeah.
there is a way which I'm now hearing recently through Soul, through my conversation with Soul, that they eventually were able to pass through and disappear out of this world. You know, there's ways to do that too, which is very interesting. You know, passing through the gates, so to speak, the gates of power. I think that's what he called it, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Soul, if you're hearing this. But yeah, like, so yeah, there are these other methods that shamans have used to get out of this realm and pass through even before their death. So who knows? I mean, nobody really knows,
It's
because no one's
again, yeah,
really actually witnessed it.
yeah. And again, isn't it? Again, it's all down to that mystery. You know, I always feel that we are living in some sort of dream. You know, that's how it feels for me anyway. Some sort of, yeah. So,
Yeah,
yeah, that's how it
totally.
feels. That's how it feels. And it feels that you know, I'm here and stuff, but I mean, my experiences from a young child, I always felt that I was here, but yeah, I was here, but I wasn't really really I didn't feel I was connected to it. That was my experience. It was almost like, yeah, I was here, but I suppose I wanted to escape it as a child. That's what I wanted to do.
Really.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as a child. But that's changed obviously now for me, you know. Because, you know, I know that I'm here to, you know, to grow and to you know, go on that path of individuation and be, you know, true to who I need to be, you know. And yeah, but
Yeah.
that's how it feels to me. It feels like it almost feels like a dream, that we're stuck in a dream.
Yeah.
Mm,
Well, the ancients have always spoken about it, this being
mm,
a dream world. You know, the Vedics and the
mm,
Vedics talk about it being, you know, Maya, and you know, the whole Gnostic view of it,
mm,
the Hermetic, the Hermetic teachings about it being everything is mental,
mm,
right? Well, that all points to the same thing. The more scientists look at atoms, the more they realize it's reflective of what we're able to measure, and that's the limitations of science. It can only know what it can measure,
mm,
right? So that makes science one of the most limited things at the same time. And as soon as that it realizes, oh, we were wrong about this because we thought it did that when we did that experiment, but now we're doing it this way. We were wrong about that. And how many times have we heard that, right? Scientists kind of apologizing or getting things wrong. Um, so that further proves that this is a dream reality, you know, or a simulation, if you want to call it that as well. Like, but for me, it is very dreamlike for sure.
mm,
We
mm.
are dreaming here, and we're also going into our dreams. And that's what I feel like when you go into your dreams, it's about becoming more conscious and seeing your hands in your dreams and making that intent. And yeah, like you know, do the work to find it yourself, because nobody not we're missing so much information in terms of our spiritual practices, at least. You
Mm,
know, that one has to find their own way with spirit,
yeah.
with their spiritual practices. Well, I don't even like to say practice either, because it shouldn't be a practice. You should just be doing it, right? Just do it. Like meditate. Why do you have to practice meditating? Just do it. Do meditating.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
know?
again, it goes back to the Tao again. It's almost like, you know, and from my experience, to where I am now, I was trying to force things,
Yeah.
in my growth. But what I've realized is when you let go, is that's when things start to happen. That's when the magic starts to happen. When you let
Yeah.
go, it's actually the opposite. Rather than to try and attain something. Yeah, it is about letting go. I think letting
Yeah.
go, and for me, the other one is as well. I have to say that having a hernia, that allowed me to stop and to really see a bigger picture that I wasn't seeing beforehand, and that was to realize that, I suppose, that I needed to have that time to be uh, in silence. Yeah, and that very silence was when I started to hear my inner voice, and it almost like nature can be harsh. That's what I realized. Nature can be harsh, and sometimes these things happen, for a reason. And again, I sort of look at it and think, wow, I'm really grateful now, because without that happening to me, how would things change in my life, and how would I be where I am today, because of that, So I'm very grateful, and it's allowed me to reevaluate my life, make
Mm.
more changes in my life for the better. So I'm grateful,
Yeah. Yeah.
on this
That's
path
beautiful.
path of you know of getting out of that resistance, that's constantly there, around me and stuff, and all of that, and yeah. So that's just, yeah, what I wanted to share. Mm.
No, beautiful, beautiful. And that is the ultimate thing. I mean, so many sages have talked about it before, going into silence and the power of silence itself. Um, and going into feeling as well, because that silence involves feeling.
Mm.
Um, but then Krishnamurti also talks about emptiness and how we are so scared of it, the emptiness itself. Like
Mm.
it's like, for example, when you fast, there's an emptiness that happens in your stomach, right? You
Mm.
feel like this void, and it's scary because you feel, oh, it's related to how you're able to survive, right?
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
but when you get past the points of fasting, and you sit with that empty stomach, and you realize, hold on, is it really empty? Maybe I'm just giving it a break, and it's going, it's relaxing. So, and then when you pay attention, actually, it is doing that when you are
Mm.
fasting. And actually, you don't really need the food. As long as you're staying hydrated and you're getting water. For me, anyway, that's the main thing, especially if you live in somewhere where there's hot weather. Really important to stay hydrated and getting good sources of water. I think Joel Schafer, you mentioned like the best source of water is fruit, because at least the water in there is living. Um, so I see how that's true to me as well. I can see how that's yeah, that's the thing. Like, yeah, of course, all the waters that the plant or the tree brings up into its through its roots into the fruit or
Mm.
into the vegetable or whatever it may be,
Mm.
it's living. It's living. It's right from the earth. It's charged with minerals and so on. So I get that.
Mm. Mm.
Um, so yeah, I think it just comes back to feeling, and it comes back to that silence and that emptiness as well, sitting with that emptiness, because we're always trying to fill something in ourselves, right? You know, why are we always scared of the emptiness? What is it
Mm.
about that emptiness within us that we are scared of?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
are we empty? are we empty, and why is it not okay to feel empty? I know how some people are like, oh, half glass full. But sometimes you need to empty yourself to fill yourself up, right? So why are you scared of being empty? We're
Mm.
always filled with so many things. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
so many ideas, so many experiences, so many things that we carry around with us.
Mm.
I actually want to empty myself of all of it, you know, and become the lightest I can be in terms of that. To me is enlightenment, you know.
Mm.
The less
Mm.
you carry around, that to me is the Tao. You know.
Yeah, again, isn't it? It's making you like your life so that it's less complicated, you know. Um, and I'm not, you know, I'm not trying to put that onto anyone else. It's just my experience, you know. Um, and that's what works for me, you know, to have that
Yeah.
more of a less complicated life. It's almost like, you know, I've begun to realize that I'm not here for to um make it in the world, to get all the thumbs up and the likes, and that's just, you know, that's just it's just part of this false persona mask, you know. Um, you know, I'm here to discover you know, discover who I am, and I know will always be on that journey and the continuous work. But yeah, I'm. It's funny because I look back and I sort of think, you know, back to my sort of maybe teenage years, and I wanted to make it as a DJ, you know, not big, you know, like a big superstar DJ, but yeah, but I wanted to make something, you know, out of it, and you know, sort of get known and stuff. But that for me now is really quite fake. Really, it's almost like I'm quite happy just to shrink more into the background, you know, and I enjoy what I do. I enjoy doing, but ultimately it's got to be for me, you know, and that I get the enjoyment out of it, and that's really what it's about. You know, it's funny how we gain more as we get older. You know, because when we're younger, it was just sort of like, yeah, we're sort of just in this world and we're doing things that we do. But yeah, I mean, this is it. So it's almost like I'm quite happy with a simple life. And if I enjoy what I enjoy doing, that's what it really matters, really, you know, in a very simplified way. And sharing it with
Mm.
the maybe one or two people around me, you know, and that's okay, you know. Um, whether that's music, food, because that's another thing, you know, a lot of people, you know, what I see going on is again lack of care, you know. I keep bringing this word up, care. And you know, we've talked about this before, Ahmed, about the family unit, you know, and how they've really dissolved that. And
Yeah.
I'm just seeing that all around me,
Yeah.
you know, just it's just been destroyed. Um,
Yeah, totally. They've done a good job on the women for sure,
mm,
and on the men, both men and women. They've done a great job. Um, you know, in the sense of great, not to praise them in any way, but you know what I mean. That they've 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 really wrecked the whole dynamic,
mm,
and the only thing that's left is lust. That's all that's left. You know, where is the love? Really, where is it? And you know, I'm reminded of that Black Eyed Peas song, "Where is the love?" You know,
yeah.
where is the love? Really, like, um, because all I see around me is lust and projections and fears. Um, you know, women are no longer respecting men, and men are no longer loving women. Because love, I mean, for us, we as a man, I feel respect is really important. You know, I get respect from my partner, whoever you know, whoever she may be. Uh, and if I'm blessed one day to have somebody that I feel is the right match for me, but at the same time, it's like, you know, in the meantime, you know, the family unit is being destroyed because they get the fact that, well, if you get to the women first, because everything is favorable to the women, the government and the state aligns with a woman.
Mm,
So if a man's built up his wealth, then by default it goes back to the woman. But this is the other thing as well, Kelvin.
Mm.
The tragedy really is all these families that have had children, and that includes myself, that eventually end up separate, divorced or whatever, and the whole family unit is kind of disbanded. That's the tragedy. Those kids are the tragedy in it all, because they don't have parents that truly endure the hardships. And the irony is they make their wedding vows saying, for better or worse, through richer or poorer, in sickness and in health. When the moment sickness or the poorer comes in, they're out. The irony, right? They make the vows, and it's not about love. Then there was no love to begin with. Because if there was truly love, then they'll be there through the sickness, they'll be there through the poorer. Because that's what love is. Love endures. It doesn't care about the materialistic things, and neither does it care that if someone's going through, a really, whether that's mental illness, a crisis, whatever it may be, that you stand together. You stand and you endure and you see it through to the end. And you know that there will be better days to come. Isn't that part of growth? Isn't that part of growing together? Isn't that the whole point of committing to each other and creating a family? And isn't that the whole point of what a stable family is? And it's sad. But again, at the same time, it's like, well, we weren't taught what healthy relationships are. We weren't taught what healthy sex is. We weren't taught, how to raise healthy children. Instead, letting the state raise them. So yeah, we've got a lot of work to do, man. Like, in the sense of if we want healthy families, we have to create communities and villages, conscious villages like us, really do it. Like, if you want that type of world, build it now. I sure is wanting to do that for sure. Like, I'm all for that.
I mean, again, it comes down to obviously being with the right brothers and sisters, obviously, because again, this is only from my, I can only speak from my personal insight or how I feel about it. Is that you hear a lot of the talk within the truth community about building communities and so forth, but boy oh boy, I could see some right challenges there. If people haven't done the shadow work, they'll be like sharks and just rip the chunks out of each other.
They'll eat each other up. They'll eat each other up.
And that's why I'm very, very, very careful, Amed. Very, very careful about where and who I want to be with in the future. Yeah.
Yeah. Michael Tsarian talks about it as well. He says that, like 90% of the truther community are deranged and delusional. And I had that with the Gnostic takeover at one point. Totally delusional. And I'll say it out loud. I say it as it is, and it was part of my lesson as well, because I needed to go through that to see it, and then disengage from it because it was very toxic, and I allowed myself to become deranged along with the delusions of what that was all about, and still to this day people are commenting on whether I'm on Jason's channel or somebody else. I know him from, you should check out, like, there's these fanboys as well trying to like use my name to bring over followers to Gnostic Take. It's so funny. But it's again, these communities are, you've got to be careful like with who you're forming it with. And to be honest, you don't need that many people anyway. Like, if you can get 20, 30 people, that's ample. To have a village with, or a little hamlet,
That's it.
I mean, the whole eco living off grid, I get that. I really get that, but you still need money. No, I don't care which way you cut it. Even if you can go completely off grid
mm,
and that's fine. You can survive. Of course, I've seen it.
mm.
But the whole point is not to survive. The whole point is to thrive. So if you're not
Yeah,
thriving, what are you doing it for?
yeah, yeah. And it's funny. It's great that you brought that up, Ahmed, because I've got to go back to the Soul Luckman podcast that you did, and there was a bit in there that you were both sharing and talking about was to do with how sovereignty and how we can use the system, um, in a way that you was mentioning about oh, I can't think of the name of the word now, actually. But it was very, very insightful, the stuff that you were
Trust.
sharing.
Yeah.
Yes, all
Yeah.
but not making a big thing to like you were saying, to overthrow, the powers
Yeah.
that shouldn't be and all that. It's using it
Yeah.
for, so that we can get by, really.
Yeah. You use their own legislation against them,
That's
and also use their own law systems against them. So it's not all just legislation, because
mm,
legislation is a sub law. It's not the law.
mm,
So a lot
mm,
of people think the law is the legislation when they're actually they're subheading from the main laws. And you've got to really get to understand what the
mm,
maxims are, the maxims of law. Once you get the maxims of law, then you can use those maxims, because they're the highest. They're the
mm,
highest. That's what dictates all the other legislations and everything else.
mm,
So if there's a maxim that say, for example, there's a piece of legislation that contradicts a maxim, then you can do away with that legislation,
mm.
because whoever passed it obviously passed it for nefarious reasons into legislation to begin with. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
use whatever the system is there, and use their own maxims against them, because the maxims are moral and they are correct.
Mm, mm,
So I haven't come across any maxims so far from what I've read. A friend of mine, Oliver, who showed me some maxims the other day, and I was like, wow, okay, this is like correct, man. How come I didn't even come across these maxims?
mm,
Why was not even educated about this? This is incredible. Like, so learn your maxims, for example.
mm.
So you learned how to operate. And yeah, then you can get into things like the power of deeds and trusts, and
Trust,
how
that's it.
to,
Yeah. Mm,
yeah,
mm,
how to own your straw man instead of the state owning the straw man, how to
mm,
create your own nationality, your own nativity, basically your own nation, without becoming a citizen of, say, the UK, which is a corporation anyway.
yeah.
So create your own.
Yeah.
Why can't you do the same? If they can do it, why can't you? You're
Mm,
still operating within the same confines of what they're using. So, but at the same time, you've got to not put your head above the parapet, because
yeah. Yeah.
if you do, you are dealing with, like I was saying to Sol, you're dealing with organized gangsters. Just be careful,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
just use the system's laws against itself to free yourself, because it's
Yeah.
there. You just got to educate yourself.
Yeah. A bit like Alan Watts played the game.
Play the game.
Just play the
Totally.
game.
Play the
Play the
game.
game.
But most
Yeah.
people don't know the rules of the game. So
Mm,
they're being played by the game.
play the game. Yeah. Yeah.
So you, instead of you being played by the game, you
Yeah.
become the game player,
The game
meaning
player.
like know the
Yeah.
whole game and know how to play it and
Mm,
learn how to
mm.
play it. Uh,
Basically, yeah. Yeah. Because you what's it for? It's to make our lives more simpler.
yeah,
So we can be in the system, but not be a part of the system,
exactly.
and that's
Yeah,
it, really.
that's the difference.
Mm,
Learn how to get out of paying taxes and so on,
mm,
because these are only legislative laws, and legislative laws are not maxims. They're not the highest laws
mm.
of what the whole commercial system operates with anyway. So find the maxims, get into educating yourself with that, uh, and learn the administrative process as well, because everything is the pen is truly a mightier than the sword, you
Mm,
know.
mm, mm.
So before you think you can take down a system and go there and create a little rebel army to take down the system, good luck to you. You've got no chance because you're dealing with something way more powerful that's been existing for thousands of years.
Yeah.
So,
This is it.
you know,
This is
why
it.
even bother? You know, why even bother? And violence, anyways, is the answer. We know that.
No, no,
So,
no.
yeah,
Yeah. And then again, like I think Sol mentioned it, or you mentioned it, was about you become the very thing, that
you fight.
you,
Yeah,
you fight ultimately. What's the point? There's no point.
yeah,
Yeah. This is it.
yeah. And that's the power
Mm,
of neutrality. That's what the Tao Te Ching talks about.
mm.
It's very neutral.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, it's like, uh, what was that story about how a farmer and his son fell off a horse and broke his leg, and then they came rushing to him and going saying that's really really bad that he broke his leg, and then he said maybe, and then a few weeks later the government came to recruit all the young men for war, but because his son's leg was broken, so they came, oh, they didn't recruit your son. That's a good thing. And he said, maybe.
Mm,
You can see how it could go on and on, right?
mm,
I mean,
mm,
the story is much longer than that, but
mm,
you get the idea.
mm,
So
mm, mm,
like there is no good and bad. The good, what you seem as perceivably good could be bad, and what you perceive as bad could be good. So whatever's happening, like to you, uh, I can look at saying my nasal issue coming back being bad, but actually it might be good.
yeah.
Maybe it's healing. Maybe it's doing something else.
Yeah.
Maybe it's
Yeah. Yeah.
actually purging something out that hasn't been purged out for years.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So don't attach yourself to the happenings, but do enjoy it while it's there as well. Do relish in it for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. It is exactly. And again, it's like anxiety, which has been quite a factor for most of my life, Um, it appeared only a few days ago again, but it's again, I sat with it.
Yeah,
Right. It's when you resist, when you fight it, that whole fight and flight sort of thing is when it becomes worse. I just sat with it and just said, hello, hello, friend, welcomed it in, hello, and just sat with it. And that was the best way, just to invite it in as a friend. And what are you here for? What do you want to show me? Had communion with it,
yeah.
you know,
I would
again.
say, like, if
Mm,
you look at the word anxiety,
mm, mm.
it's an exit to why.
Wow. I like that. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
So
that's amazing.
so
Yeah.
there is a way to go through anxiety. It's an exit for
Mm,
you to
as
the
an
why.
exit. Yeah.
Yeah, to the why, because when we're lost when we don't know why, we have anxiety,
Mm,
right?
mm,
But
mm.
if you go through it, it becomes an exit to the why, you
Wow.
know,
See, it all has a purpose. Yeah.
for
Mm,
sure. Like,
mm,
like anxiety, most people are riddled with anxiety because of, well, the nervous system. It could be many things, but it is there to break you down so that you can be built back up.
mm,
See, I went
mm,
through that myself a few years back, where it just got the better of me, and I was constantly riddled with anxiety and
mm,
panic
mm,
attacks. I had panic attacks.
mm, mm,
Well, um, and what for? What for in the end? What for? So that I can break down, so that because it was there to break me down,
mm,
so that I can find my why. It's an
mm,
exit to the why. That to me was the best thing that ever happened to me, even though that I
mm,
thought seemingly at the time it was really bad. I'm glad I did write it out, because obviously some people lose their minds in the
mm,
madness of it,
mm,
because the world has its way, and sadly some people go into mental wards and all types of mental health issues.
mm,
You know, but those who make it through are able to navigate and open doors of perception they weren't able to open before, that most
mm,
people are not even open to.
mm,
You
mm, mm.
know? And that's what I love about how you talk about simplicity and simplifying things, because I've found when those who love complexity and uh, like love their own complexity, right? They're the most riddled with troubles and anxiety and pain and drama. It never ends. And sometimes they're so addicted to it, that's their whole identity, you know. And I'm talking about people just as equally in the truth and community or the conscious community, right?
Yeah.
You know, makes you realize like actually how many of them are conscious. Right? They are already, you know,
Yeah, yeah. And
on the path
again,
of truth.
yeah. And like you said, all these experiences we have to go through, you know, because, without those experiences, where would I be today because of that?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just what we need to go through, and it helps us to grow. It helps us to hopefully make more of the better decisions than the ones that are going to cause us more pain, more suffering, you know,
Yep. Yep.
by
So
simplifying our lives and yeah. So yeah. Mm.
yeah, that's to simplicity, Kelvin. You know, the more we simplify, uh, I think that's the highest act of intelligence. In fact, Jiddu Krishnamurti,
Mm.
he's the one that says the highest form of intelligence is those who simplify themselves. Something along
Mm.
those lines. Anyway, that's what he quotes.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on it, but
Mm.
you know, that is the highest form of intelligence. Those who can have the most simple mind.
Mm.
You
Yeah.
know, that isn't that interesting.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
beautiful. And there's something I would like to add on to that. Less is more. And
yeah,
that's a thing that I used to hear a lot in sort of DJ circles in music production. And they used to always say about, to make a real track work, less is more.
yeah.
And
I hear that a lot.
you can
Yeah,
apply that in your daily life, less is more.
yeah,
Really, really is. Mm. Mm.
yeah. I mean, the same thing with like uh acting, for example. You know, when I used to be an actor in
Mm.
front of the screen, it's like less is more for sure. Like if
Mm.
you're being animated, it's too
Mm.
much for the camera, but if you're doing a lot of things a lot more subtly,
Mm.
that's actually more powerful.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm.
so yeah,
Mm.
less is more for sure. Like there's so much power in that.
Mm.
Uh, so yeah, there's acts of power we can do. Less is more is certainly one of them. Simplifying our minds is certainly one of them, even to the point of getting that inner dialogue silent,
Mm.
and getting to that practice of just being in that flow state
Yeah.
of love, appreciation, and gratitude. You know,
Mm.
and carrying that all the time and as much as we
Mm.
can. You know, and grateful also for when challenges come our way. It's always a spiral, right? So you may be here in this spiral, right?
Mm.
This spiral here, you reacted with anger because that interaction happened, and then the next time round, you were a lot more calmer, but you still reacted and you still engaged with it, and then you come around again to the same experience in a different form, and then in that spiral, you know, you're then a lot more detached from the result, and you could actually laugh at it, and they'd be like, "What? Why are you laughing? It's not a funny matter." It's like, what do you want me to say? What do you want me to do? I'm not attached to this outcome. You know, I'm not trying.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not here to win. I'm not here to
Yeah.
be to lose, or I'm not here to win. I'm not here to do any of that. I'm not here to be a master or a slave. You know. So
Yeah. Again, isn't it? It's just how, yeah, this is how, yeah, the ego can be very much that it wants to, as we know, it wants to prove itself. It wants to try and get one over,
yeah,
always tries to want to, say if you have a certain friend and they're doing something and you're doing something to try and get one over each other. And it's all a load of, well,
yeah,
basically a load of BS bullshit,
yeah.
really.
Yeah, I mean it's fun. It's
It's,
fun to have a competition for
yeah,
fun and have a
yeah,
game. That's
yeah,
different,
that's different. Yeah,
Do
yeah,
have a challenge and do like
yeah.
challenge each other as well. Like if you're in a friendship and you have things like, or if you've got a training partner who does martial arts, do challenge each other, push each
Mm,
other's limits for sure. Have that competitive streak, but don't take it too seriously either.
yeah,
At the same time, there's a place for that, and also
mm,
there's a place for
yeah,
for not trying to prove anything at all.
yeah.
Because who else are you proving it to except for yourself?
Yeah, I think that's again. It comes down to all the sort of how we get caught up in the material type stuff. You know what I mean, and stuff. And yeah, it's again, it's where it comes from the heart, isn't it, Ahmed? It's where it comes from
Yeah,
the heart. That's what it's about, really, isn't it?
yeah,
It's like you. I see what you do, the podcast that you do, and it just inspires me. And that's what it should be about. Just here to inspire each other. That's how I feel. And yeah, so yeah, I don't need to. I've been there. I've been there in the past. But now it's different for me. I feel. You know, all I can do is live my life and just enjoy it, enjoy the moment. Enjoy these beautiful talks that we have and what we share and what we bring. And I'm not in it for sort of any ego competition. It's like you were saying, there's a difference, and
yeah.
you put it beautifully the way that you express that.
Yeah, we share. I like, for example, why am I doing this with you? Like,
Mm.
really, I like doing it with you in
Yeah.
terms of I like having this conversation and talking about in-depth things, and whoever benefits from it benefits from it.
Mm.
It's nice to share because sharing is caring, and um, I'm not in it for any self-importance because that's not who I am. That's not what I do. Um, this is just a body that I express through, and that's about it. And if it can be used in a way that can inspire others, it can so that they can be empowered by it. That's amazing. That's what I want.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I'd like to be in the world.
Mm.
Someone who inspires and creates and you know leaves this world in a better state than once I found it. So it's all part of the journey.
Mm.
And like when we talk about the divine, the infinite, the divine and the infinite is expressing through us when we let go of our attachments to worldly affairs in the sense of our materialism,
Mm.
and that's in every sense of the word. Like when we come from a place of heart, like you say, Kelvin, the heart is the key to the divine. The divine does not speak to you through your mind; it speaks to you through your heart, and that's how we tap into that source energy, because it comes from a place of love. It does not come from a place of any other place other than love. So,
Yeah.
and I mean true love, not the love that we
Mm.
perceive to be love to be,
Yeah.
sadly, these
Yeah.
days, which is a lot. It's mistaken a lot for uh animus projections and anima projections onto the other
Mm.
male or female, or whether it's uh, a projection of a transactional love, because I love you, you should love me. Because I've given you something, you should give me something. That's not what love is. Love is unconditional. It has no conditions, and it never
Mm.
will. And the divine has no conditions on you. All you have to do is get to your heart and feel and be there, and truly connect, really care and connect with the people that you connect with, and put boundaries where you put boundaries, because that's also self-care. That's also self-love.
Yeah.
So so love is a very powerful thing, and it can be quite ruthless as well if you know how to if you learn its many sides, because love is not one faceted either. So it can come
Mm.
with many forms.
Yeah. Yeah. And as you shared that, Ahmed, um, I remember, that's what my soul cried out for: pure love, the pure essence of love.
Yeah.
That's really it. That's what my soul desires. you know.
Yeah.
So
And
I'm really,
the soul has all the love as well within it.
yeah,
It contains
yeah,
all the love.
mm,
Love is all there. And
mm,
the more you reflect that love into yourself, the more
mm,
outwardly that love will be reflected back to you through others.
mm,
Because it
mm,
starts within. All of it starts within.
mm,
All of it. All of it.
mm,
You are the all. You are everything that ever will be. Uh, and the love starts from within yourself, and how you love yourself is how others will love you.
mm, mm,
Because by giving yourself that love, you're giving yourself that energy and that power ultimately.
mm.
You know, it's the it's the not the it's not uh the love of power, but the power to love.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. And as you said, that it's beautiful because it reminds us of just how we are mirrors of each other. And
That's what we're here to do. We're here to be mirrors and
yeah,
get rid of all our smoke, and that's what the shadow work is. That's what we're
mm,
here to do.
mm,
Deal with our issues, our traumas, and stop the projections, so that we can get into healthier relationships. Same thing as men and women. If we want healthier families, we want families that don't break up. Well, do the work. Do the work on yourself, and also commit. Know that you're not perfect. No one is. I'm not. Nobody is.
yeah,
I'll have my blind spots, and my prayer and my intent as well is to connect with those who are able to see those unconscious parts of me, so I can also see unconscious parts of them, and
yeah,
we can help each other grow in that
mm,
way. And that's
mm.
love. Isn't that
That's
love?
that's
Isn't that
that's yeah,
beautiful?
that is true. Yeah, that is true love. And
Yeah.
that's it. I'm not afraid of that. I'm not afraid. You know, that maybe sometime in the future, there might be something you might say, "Hey, Kelvin," and I'd be like, "Thank you, thank you,"
Yeah.
because without you, I wouldn't have seen that. You know,
Vice versa, same thing. you
yeah,
know like
simple.
I'm always looking to grow, and I'm always humble enough to know, like,
Yeah,
because what isn't that the most loving thing, that your growth, your spiritual development, your mental development, all of it is part of your growth as a soul being on this plane. And
mm,
you know what are we here to do other than that? And you know so that we can integrate all of those parts of us and get on with doing the work on this world as well, and making a better world for our children,
mm,
ultimately. And
mm.
because they're gonna, when we're gone, they're gonna be left behind, and when they're gone, their children's gonna be left behind. Do you see what I mean? So it's an ongoing thing. We have to think ahead,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah,
and truly, like, you know, embody that, embody all
mm,
these great saints and figures that have come throughout the mythologies, uh, and the sort of religions. They're there as examples of attributes and archetypes of what the hero is, or what the saint is, or what the sage is. Embody all those. Embody the saint, the sage, and the hero.
mm,
Embody all of them. Embody all the great qualities. You recognize the evil qualities of the other characters, the devil, the demons, the do you see what I mean? Like,
yeah,
all
yeah,
these other nefarious characters in the
mm,
mythologies, because they're there to reflect that inner nature in ourselves that we all have and possess, but we choose not to engage in, or give power to.
yeah,
So where are you giving your power to? Are you giving your power to that, or are you giving your power, or are you building your power, building your energy, and truly becoming an empowered sovereign being?
mm,
So, do that,
mm,
because
mm.
that is the doing to the being, and that is the being of the doing. So they're both one and the same.
One of the same. One of the same. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, Ahmed. Thank you. This is something I wanted to finish on as well. And I think yeah, I shared this with you before we actually came on tonight and did the podcast, and which was about my experience down the beach, and sitting on the rocks, and the view, and what I experienced from that was the whole sort of tranquility in the peace, but the vastness of it all that was unfolding in front of me. And I just want to share that I felt very humbled, very, very humbled. And it made me sort of feel quite small in the grand scheme of things. So I just wanted to share that as we bring this podcast to a close tonight. It was very moving for me, and I just got something I'd like to share from the book, if that's okay, just to sort of finish sort of off. It's actually, the book is The Fool and the Sage. It's by Anshu, Patre, and I was just reading it earlier, and I just thought I'll share this out. And so it just goes, how can the spirit exist without the body? How can the flame burn without the candle? How can the flower bloom without the plant? It is truly a mystery. I just want to finish on that. So one to ponder on.
Yeah, beautiful way to end it, brother. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's been a joy as always talking about these things, and always nourishing for the heart, and always felt.
Truly felt and stuff. Yeah. So and thank you, Amed, for your time. And always look forward to these conversations, and look forward to our next conversation now when it's meant to be. And thank you, brother. Thank you. And is there sort of any sort of last words before we wrap things up tonight?
Surrender as well. I would say surrender to the soul, like surrender to yourself, surrender to your heart, because we're always fighting it up here. We're always at war up here, and it's all the love is here. It's always there. It's always been there. So surrender as well. So thank you.
Thank you once again, Amed, and thank you to the viewers, and much love to you, and look forward to our next conversation, Amed. Much love.
Likewise, much love.